You've spent decades, maybe your whole career, saving your money, playing by all the rules, and building that nest egg. But what if I told you there's a hidden thread lurking inside your retirement account, just waiting to go off right when you need that money the most? Yeah, we need to talk about this.
Look, I know this sounds dramatic, but it's a question we absolutely have to ask. Because honestly, for millions and millions of savers, the answer might be a shocking yes. Are you sitting on a ticking tax bomb and you don't even know it? And this isn't about the stock market going up or down. Nope. The predator we're talking about today, it's silent, it's very patient, and believe it or not, it's written right into the tax code.
So let's pull back the curtain. Let's really look at what this threat is and, more importantly, why so many people are just completely unprepared for what's heading their way.
Okay, so here's the core idea. Every time you put money into your traditional 401k or IRA, you got a tax deduction, right? And that felt great. But here's the catch. You didn't avoid the taxes, you just postponed them. You basically shook hands on a deal to pay the bill later, and later is retirement. And this is where it really changes how you need to think about your account balance. Because, and this is crucial, you are not the only one with a claim to that money. That's right, you have a silent partner, and that partner is the IRS. They have a claim on your nest egg, a claim that gets bigger every single year that your account grows. Just think about that for a second. They took on zero risk. They didn't save a dime, but they are guaranteed a huge piece of the reward.
This is the million-dollar question. Literally. That big, beautiful number you see in your quarterly statement, well, I hate to say it, but it's kind of an illusion. Let's just break down the math.
This chart really shows you what's going on. Let's say you've got that million-dollar balance, and you're in a pretty modest 25% tax bracket when you combine federal and state taxes. Well, guess what? You don't actually have $1 million. You have $750,000. That other $250,000? Oh, that already belongs to your silent partner. That $250,000, that's a down payment on a house, that's years of travel, it's real money, and it's not yours. And here's where we get to the ticking fuse on the bomb. In 2026, a lot of the current tax cuts are scheduled to just expire. That means the IRS's share of your money could get bigger overnight. Your 25% partner could suddenly become a 30% partner, maybe even a 35% partner. And that could shrink your retirement funds by tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars without you doing a single thing.
And just when you think it can't get any trickier, the government adds another layer to the problem. Because they don't just sit around and wait for you to decide to pay them their share. Oh no, they force your hand. You might have heard of these. They're called Required Minimum Distributions, or RMDs. It's a simple rule. Once you hit a certain age, the government says you have to start taking money out of your account. They don't care if you don't need the income. They don't care if the market is having a bad year. They want their tax revenue, and they want it now.
Now, the really crucial thing to understand is how these RMDs trigger a pretty devastating chain reaction. This is where the dominoes start to fall. That forced withdrawal, bam, it jacks up your taxable income, which then, bam, pushes you into a higher tax bracket. Then get this, your Medicare premiums can spike, and for the final blow, more of your Social Security can suddenly become taxable. It is a cascade of financial hits that can seriously, seriously damage the retirement lifestyle you worked so hard for.
Okay, deep breath. I know that all sounds pretty scary, but it is not hopeless. So now let's talk about the solution. And it all starts with a huge shift in your mindset from being a passive victim to becoming a proactive strategist.
You really have two paths you can take here. On one side, you've got the victim mindset. That's just being reactive, waiting for the IRS to tell you what you owe and just hoping for the best. But on the other side, you have the strategist. This is all about being proactive. It's about taking control, deciding for yourself when and how you're going to deal with this tax problem. It's the difference between being a passenger on a bumpy ride and being the pilot.
So what does being a strategist actually look like? Well, it could mean looking into things like Roth conversions, paying the taxes now while we know rates are still relatively low. It means diversifying your savings into different tax buckets. Some tax-deferred, some tax-free, some taxable. So you've got options and flexibility. The whole game is about planning ahead.
And if there is one thing you take away from all this, please let it be this. The financial world has changed. That old idea that you can just put money in a 401k for 30 years and everything will just magically work out, that's not just outdated, it's dangerous. You have to be an active participant in your own financial future.
Now, of course, this is all for educational purposes. Everybody's situation is completely unique, so you absolutely have to talk to a qualified financial advisor or a tax professional to figure out the right strategy for you. But the goal here is to make sure you know the right questions to ask. Is your retirement plan really ready for the tax challenges that are coming?